India's military prowess is on the rise, as is Bharat's economic and geopolitical clout. Under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, India has now risen to third spot in Asia power rankings, surging past traditional titans Japan and Russia for the very first time in history. So firstly, these rankings by the Lowy Institute, an Australian think tank, signify the nation's capacity to influence and shape its external neighborhood or environment. So India is the third most powerful to shape and influence Asia and larger Indo-Pacific region. Now I double-checked the power rankings and could not find India's arch-rival Pakistan anywhere in the top 10 list. Islamabad, in fact, is way down in 16th, just marginally ahead of countries like geopolitically isolated North Korea and the tiny nation of Brunei. Well done, Pakistan. Having gained independence at the same time, India has now entered the top 3, leaving behind once mighty military power Japan, whose economic stagnation as well as an aging population has seen it being eclipsed by India on the podium. Australia, just like India, has risen 1 point and now ranks 5th in the power rankings, driven by robust economy and new military alliances like the AUKUS. Russia is chasing past glory and superpower status. However, Western sanctions driven by the Ukraine war has seen it slip down to 6th spot. Countries ranked 3rd to 6th are clubbed as middle powers. Surging economies, South Korea and Singapore are in 7th and 8th spots respectively, with both geographically small nations certainly punching above their weight. ASEAN nations, including Indonesia and Thailand, complete the list and occupy the 9th and 10th spot respectively. Now, hailing the shifting power dynamics and India's rising influence, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting said, quote, "Increasing geopolitical stature, dynamic growth, youthful population and expanding economy led to India's steady rise in the regional power rankings, witnessing a gradual rise. India looks to achieve its full potential and exercise its influence in this region," unquote. Now, the Lowy Institute evaluates 27 countries in the region based on economic relationships, military capabilities, cultural influence, and political resilience. This latest Asia Power Index 2024 covers 6 years of a comprehensive assessment of the changing power distribution in the region. So these rankings are a trend of India's rising clout over half a decade. Of course, the top spot is occupied by the United States, with China comfortably behind in second. But these countries are far ahead of the rest and are deemed to be the only 2 superpowers. The interesting fact here is that the institute found that China's power has stagnated and plateaued. Beijing is unlikely to challenge US military, economic or geopolitical clout over the Indo-Pacific in the near future. The institute also found that China has made rapid gains in military power. However, it still fails to project military power much beyond its immediate borders. The survey claims on China, quote, "Flattening economic capability driven by slower economic growth and long-term structural challenges means China's economic clout, while still commanding, is no longer growing," unquote. India can use this Chinese stagnation to expand its own power over the next few decades. According to Asia Power Index 2024, India and Indonesia are the biggest gainers in the region, while Myanmar, New Zealand and Russia are the biggest losers in these rankings. So let's take a closer look at the factors contributing to India's rise in power index. India's post-pandemic economic resurgence has been highlighted as a huge factor, resulting in a 4.2 boost in economic capability. India ranks 4th in Asia in economic capability rankings with an 8.2% growth rate, which will see New Delhi emerge as the world's 3rd biggest economy by 2030. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting added, quote, "One of the most significant findings of the 2024 Asia Power Index is India's steady rise in regional power rankings. Witnessing a gradual rise, India is looking to achieve its full potential and exercise its influence in the region," unquote. Meanwhile, India's labor force expansion and a growing workforce has reflected in India's future resources score, which has increased by a stunning 8.2 points. India ranks 3rd in terms of future resources in all of Asia and beyond, and is among the highest gainers in this metric. In other key factors, India ranks 4th in military capacity, 4th in resilience to political and geopolitical factors, 4th in diplomatic influence, and 4th in India's cultural influence on Asia. However, the survey adds that India is still far from reaching its true potential, which will enable it to stand shoulder to shoulder with the two superpowers. It says, quote, New Delhi still has limited ability to project power and influence east of the Malacca Strait. However, the fact that its influence remains well below the level promised by its resources suggests it has ample potential for further growth as a major power, unquote. According to the survey, India can make massive gains or improvements in two factors. First is the defense networks, in which New Delhi ranks 9th, which means Bharat should forge stronger military alliances in Asia, as well as economic relationships, in which India ranks 10th in Asia, indicating that India should forge deeper financial bonds, including trade deals with allies, to truly reflect its stature as the world's third biggest economy by 2030. Consistent improvements in technology and service sectors, coupled with massive growth in the manufacturing sector and growing exports due to programs like Make in India and the push towards Atmanirbhar Bharat, have enhanced India's defense, industrial and economic base. All these factors, combined with strong leadership of Prime Minister Modi, have seen India rise to the top 3 of power rankings for the very first time. So can India continue its growth trajectory and close the gap to China? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.